Well, hello, my name is Christopher Scott and I serve as a small groups pastor. In this video, I'm going to give you a small group facilitator tip about delegating your busy weeks, right? So delegating your busy week. There's a story of a guy that facilitated a small group as part of our church where he wanted to start a small group at his house with his wife. So they picked a study, they talked to the church, they got some approval on it, they went ahead and started the group at their home. And then they got about, I think they had 14 people when they started out the group, and the group was going good. They started going, they started studying, they started getting it going. But when the group started, he was doing the small group facilitating. He was communicating with the group each week about the reading. He was hosting the group at his home. He was coordinating the snack list. He was doing the prayer request lists and coordinating that and all of those different things. But as the group started going and he found some good, loyal, faithful people in his group, he started to delegate some of those ministries. He found a guy that would coordinate the prayer requests each week. There was another lady that said she really wanted to host, so she started to host the group at her home. Then he found a good co-leader that would help him co-lead the group when he needed to take a week off. And then when his wife got pregnant and they were going to have a baby, he just said, I'm going to take 2 months off from our group when the baby comes. I'm just going to, not even going to come, focus on being a dad, right? And he was able to delegate that time of his life because he had in place, had strategically started to get other people involved and had a co-leader there that could take on the workload, right? And that's my story of when I started a small group at my house with my wife and we had a baby, and we just took some time off because I had a co-leader. And that's the principle here, is that as a small group facilitator, your life is busy, right? And you want to be able to delegate the really busy weeks or periods of times to someone else to facilitate the group when you need a little extra free time, okay? Because if you're like me, you probably have a job. Everybody has a job. I have 2 jobs. I have a family. I have a wife and a kid. And then a lot of people are involved in their community, in Kiwanis, Rotary, whatever that might be. So there's a lot of stuff going on for a lot of people. And facilitating a small group probably is not your only responsibility that you have to do each week, okay? So that's why you want to be able to delegate your busy weeks. And at our church, we have 4 things that we encourage all small groups to have in place to produce a healthy small group experience, right? Number 1 is we want all the groups to have an apprentice, co-leader, or an assistant. An apprentice, co-leader, or assistant, that person that you can delegate your work to when you need to, right? So we want all the groups to have an apprentice, co-leader, and assistant. We want all the groups to be serving in the community. We want all the groups to have an empty chair in their group where they can pray for the unsaved people or welcome new people. And we want all the groups to practice the unifying questions. And I put some videos up there in the ID cards about how to find an apprentice, co-leader, assistant, about doing the empty chair, about serving, and the unifying question, right? They're all up there. You can watch them on your own if you want. So let's talk about delegation in the Bible, right? What does it mean to delegate your ministry to other people? Is this a biblical concept? You might say, I love to do the ministry. I love to facilitate a small group. Why would I want to delegate? Well, we see in the Bible a lot of delegation, right? More specifically, in Exodus 18, there's a story in Exodus about Moses and how he's hearing all the cases of the people over and over and over again. And it says the nation of Israel, people were lined up from morning until evening trying to get to talk to Moses about their conflicts and the resolutions that they needed help with. They were lined up from morning until evening, right? And so Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, hears about this and talks to Moses and says, this isn't going to last very long. You're going to burn out. You need to fix it and do something different. And here's what you should do. Jethro tells Moses, select from all the people some capable, honest men who fear God and hate bribes. They should always be available to solve the people's common disputes, but have them bring the major cases to you. Let the leaders decide the smaller matters themselves. They will help you carry the load, making the task easier for you. If you follow this advice, and if God commands you to do so, then you will be able to endure the pressures, and all these people will go home in peace. Okay? That's what Jethro tells Moses, right? To find some leaders, appoint them in positions of authority over people, and they can take care of the more common matters. Okay, that's in the book of Exodus. Then in Ephesians chapter 4 verses 11 through 12, Paul writes, these are the gifts Christ gave to the church, the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, and the pastors and the teachers. Their responsibility is to equip God's people to do his work and build up the church, right? So pastors, teachers, evangelists, prophets, their ministry is not just doing ministry, it's to equip God's people to serve, right? It's to delegate the ministry to those people. Then Paul writes to Timothy, 2 Timothy 2:2. He says, "You have heard me," he's talking to Timothy, "Timothy, you've heard me teach these things that have been confirmed by many reliable witnesses. Now teach these truths to other trustworthy people who will be able to pass them on." So, Timothy, you've heard me teach these things. Now you teach them to other people so that they can pass them on to other people, right? See delegation again there. And then the Titus, Paul writes, "I left you on the island of Crete." Titus, I left you on the island of Crete so you could complete our work there and appoint elders in each town as I instructed you. Okay, so Titus, I left you on Crete. You're to do ministry that I delegated to you. And by the way, you're to delegate that ministry to elders now, right? And then Revelation 22:16, Jesus says, "I, Jesus, have sent my angel to give you this message for the churches." So Jesus has delegated his ministry to an angel to give that ministry message to John, who's then supposed to give that ministry message to the 7 churches of Revelation, right? So you see delegation throughout the Bible. And again, you might say, "I don't care. I love to delegate, or I love to facilitate a small group. Why would I want to delegate something I do and I like to do?" Well, there's 4 basic benefits of delegating at least just your busy weeks to other people in your group. Number 1, it's going to give you some free time and a little extra time that you might need during a busy week or a busy month or busy season of life. Number 2, it develops other potential small group facilitators, right? It develops other small group facilitators and future leaders. There might be someone part of your group that they start to facilitate a couple weeks, they realize they like it, and then their work schedule changes or their family schedule changes, and they can no longer be a part of your small group. So they say, "Hey, I'm going to start a different group at a different day and time, and I'm going to do it on my own." Or maybe they have to move to a different city or state and join a different church, and they say, "Hey, I facilitated a group a few week times in the past. Maybe I'll start a group here," right? So you're developing future small group leaders. Number 3 benefit of delegating your busy week is it gives someone a purpose in your group. There might be somebody that's been coming to your group for a while. They just come and sit and listen and talk. It gives them a purpose in a ministry that they might not have had before. And lastly, number 4, it tells your group, when you delegate the facilitating to someone else, it tells your group that the group is not about you, right? So like when I give training to our small group facilitators about how to use the Warren Wiersbe Bible study guides, I say this is just a tool that you're using to study the Bible, right? You're not doing a Bible study of the Wiersbe Bible study guide. You're studying the Bible, and this is just a tool to help you, right? And when you delegate your busy weeks to someone else, it tells your group that you're just the tool, you're just an element that God is using for them to grow in their spiritual walk. And it doesn't matter whether you use, it's you or someone else in the group. You're just there kind of as a conduit, as a pipeline to help walk people through that. So I hope that this is helpful for you as you delegate your ministry to other people. I'd love to hear from you. How have you delegated your busy weeks or months or season of life? Kind of like I shared my story at the beginning. How have you delegated those busy times as a small group facilitator to other people? I'd love to hear from you down there in the comments. I hope this video was helpful for you. And if you want to subscribe to my channel and get updates on future videos, I got those videos, that subscribe link up there. If you want to find other small group facilitator tips, I got a bunch of videos up there in a playlist. If you want to learn to use the Warren Wiersbe Bible study guides in your group, I got some of those videos down there. And then if you want to do topical DVD-based studies that are really easy to do, I got some of those how-to videos over there. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you again soon in another video.